But the hearing this morning is entitled American Energy Security and Innovation, Grid Reliability Challenges in a Shifting Energy Resource Landscape. Today's discussion builds on earlier hearings that address the challenges posed by changes in the nation's electricity generation portfolio. The proportion of electricity we get from coal, natural gas, nuclear, hydroelectric, and non-hydro renewables has remained relatively constant over the last several decades. However, a shift is occurring, and what is alarming is how fast the mix has changed during the past few years. And it is this rapid transition that presents a number of pressing concerns that must be addressed in order to ensure a reliable and affordable electricity supply. Most significantly, we're seeing a sharp drop in coal use and its replacement with natural gas. Part of this is due to market forces, namely the increased supply and relatively low price of domestic natural gas, but also part is the result of policy decisions made in Washington, particularly EPA's regulatory bias against coal. Policy decisions are also behind the increased use of intermittent renewable resources such as wind and solar power, especially the generous federal tax breaks and subsidies that favor them, as well as state-level renewable electricity mandates. There certainly is room for debate of the merits of these policies and decisions and their impacts on electricity consumers and the American economy. I, for one, am opposed to EPA's regulatory onslaught and will continue to oppose anti-coal rules because, like the President, I agree that we need all of the above, even though I think he wants to omit coal. But the point of this hearing is that these changes to the generation mix are occurring, and it is important that we think through what must be done to ensure that the lights stay on and that electric bills are affordable in the years ahead. For example, the increased use of natural gas to provide electricity cannot go smoothly unless we have the pipeline capacity to carry it from where it is produced to the many new natural gas-fired power plants that are being built. We'll need new natural gas pipelines as well as storage facilities to be constructed. However, we don't have a lot of time to build them given the reliability challenges we face today, and we've already witnessed this scenario in areas like New England. In addition, the federal and state policies that have given a boost to intermittent power sources could easily backfire if we don't address the difficulties of integrating these intermittent sources into the electric grid and the additional cost that requires. Homeowners and businesses need electricity whether or not the sun is shining or the wind is blowing, and the supply at any moment must meet the demand. This is nearly impossible to do with intermittent renewables that are not readily and reliably available. I might also add that the long-term subsidization of certain generation sources, such as wind, can impair reliability and drive up electricity prices and increase integration costs. The wind PTPC was extended at the end of last year, much to the disappointment of many of us. That extension alone is expected to cost over $12 billion over the next 10 years. And then, as many of you know, in January, EPA even made a decision in a ruling to exempt from the Clean Air Act emissions from generators that are used to back up wind power. And I recall that when we had our 3 forums on the Clean Air Act, many people said, well, you're out to destroy the Clean Air Act. We were not exempting anything from the Clean Air Act. We were simply having discussions with local regulators of the impact of the Clean Air Act, and yet here EPA is exempting from the Clean Air Act backup generators for the wind power. The electric sector is changing, but one thing that remains constant is that homeowners, small business owners, manufacturers, and others need reliable and affordable electricity, and if we're going to be competitive in the global marketplace, we must do everything possible to ensure affordable and abundant electricity.